and welcome to another episode of Unexplained Mysteries. I'm your host, Liam Kavanaugh, and today we'll be covering the mystery of D.B. Cooper, or more specifically, the hijacking of Flight 305. We'll cover the whole story, then go into more specifics about the investigation. Since we're getting into November and nearing Thanksgiving, it would be appropriate to mention that the story of D.B. Cooper takes place on Thanksgiving Eve of 1971. Anyways, let's get started. Our story begins on a normal November night in 1971. When Northwest Airlines Flight 305 prepared for takeoff, nothing was out of the ordinary. Guests boarded as usual, and everything seemed fine. But one of these guests would cement the flight in history. His name is Dan Cooper, but after a reporter confused his name with someone else's, he became known as D.B. Cooper. He boarded his plane with a briefcase, and everything went as usual. That is, until Cooper gave a note to the flight attendant detailing he had a bomb. And after giving proof, he then stated his demands. He wanted $200,000 and 2 parachutes. He also added that after they landed in Seattle, all the passengers would remain in the plane until he got the money. The local police and the FBI were informed of the situation, and the passengers were told that their flight would be delayed because of a quote, technical difficulty. The flight went mostly as planned, and Cooper was described as being polite and nice throughout the flight, even having conversations with multiple crew members. And when one of them asked why he chose Northwest Airlines to hijack, he simply replied, "It's not because I have a grudge against your airlines, it's just because I have a grudge." What Cooper's grudge was, we may never know. But what we do know is that Cooper made contact with several passengers while on the flight. One of these passengers was nicknamed the Cowboy. Though Cooper's interaction with the Cowboy was fairly trivial, several different accounts of the story were given. One of these versions details the Cowboy coming up to question about the so-called delay. Cooper and the crew member attempted to get the man to go back to his seat, but to no avail. Another version details the man coming up and tells a similar story, but instead of asking about the delay, he simply asked for a sports magazine to read. Cooper grabbed a copy of the New Yorker and got the man to return to his seat. When the plane finally landed in Seattle, the $200,000 in mostly unmarked $20 bills was obtained via the Seattle First National Bank. And as for the parachutes, they were obtained from a local skydiving school. Cooper only wanted one representative from the airline to give him his money and parachutes, and when he received his demands, he agreed to let the passengers be released. After all the passengers were released from the plane, only the crew and Cooper remained. The flight took off again at around 7:30, and this is where things start to get strange. If Cooper's polite demeanor wasn't weird enough, this next request would be. He requested the AFT staircase be opened, and after the crew expressed concerns about being sucked out of the plane, he decided to lower it himself. Cooper's last message was a simple no in response to being asked if he needed assistance. And, after presumably jumping out of the plane with parachutes and the money, Cooper was never heard from again. The ongoing investigation to find out who and where D.B. Cooper is has hardly revealed anything, and Cooper has never been seen since, although some of the ransom money was found in February of 1980. Also, other pieces of evidence were recovered, including a clip-on tie and some cigarette butts. We may never know what happened to Dan Cooper after that fateful night, and who knows, he could still be alive today. Anyways, that'll be all. I'm your host, Liam Kavanaugh. This has been Unexplained Mysteries, and remember, life isn't always as it seems.